What's up guys, this is Sean and welcome back to the iherng podcast, and today we will answer a question from email. This is from Sam. Hi Sean, my name is Sam. Like many who reach out to you, I've been following your content for a while. I appreciate your honest, constructive feedback. Since your first investment property was in Puchong and you do replies to about 10 emails a day, something I heard on Lee Xin Yi podcast, I figured I should take my shot. I recently left my corporate job in automotive where I was earning 5,500, which excludes commission and incentive, transition into a tech industry. At 27, I felt an urgency to pivot before getting left behind, so I'm currently unemployed and taking courses to upskill. I live with my family in USJ. My dad, 60 years old, is retiring in April 2025, and my mom, 63, has been retired for 4 years. As a way of repaying them for my education in Wales, I contribute 1,000 a month to my dad and 500 ringgit a month to my mom. We own an apartment in Puchong, where we lived there since the launch 1999. We rented it out a few times, but after one tenant damaged the unit, refused to pay for the repairs and withheld the deposit. They retaliated by locking the door with a metal chain and padlock, even had to call a specialist to remove it. Since then, my dad has chosen not to rent it out again. Selling was always an option, but the conversation never progressed, especially after COVID. For a while, I wanted to live independently. I have considered renting in, but the cost combined with my family contributions made it tough. Now that I'm unemployed, I'm considering moving into this Puchong apartment to have my own space and focus on my career transition. Would it be a wise move to stay there first, invest in some minor renovations, perhaps with a budget-friendly alternative, and fully furnish the place while looking for a remote job? My long-term plan is to eventually rent out the apartment and move closer to my workplace once I'm financially stable. I have attached the closest reference for your review. I would appreciate your insight. So it's just a 3+1 bedroom, 960 square feet unit, and the ongoing rent for bare furnished, right, is about 1,300. So the picture that he sent to me. Thank you in advance. Yeah. So I don't really see a question leh. Just to get some facts right first. You were earning 5,500, but you left now at 27. You are upgrading yourself to pivot into the tech industry lah. So your dad is retiring at 60, your mom is 63, retired very long already. Every month you are paying them 1,500 as a contribution for your education in Wales. Okay, so now they have an apartment in Puchong, held there for very long, nothing to do with it, want to sell, also didn't want to sell. So now you are thinking about whether to move in. So whether do you want to furnish it up or not, then eventually rent it out until you get a job in KL. I think that's the question, okay? Number one, the first thing to highlight is, I personally do not agree that you quit your job in order to upgrade yourself. I would argue, why don't you do it concurrently? And the main reason why you can do so most likely is because you live with your family. Food is always on the table, you don't have to pay rent to the family, right? Therefore, you still feel kind of alang-alang, oh, I need to concentrate on my studies. So my concern here is you will have that lack of urgency. So this is something that I will do entirely differently. Every day, the weekday from 8 to 6 or 8 to 7 or 8 to 8 a.m. to p.m., right? That belongs to the boss, right? I get paid, and I will use the rest of the time to work on my study. Then you have all the public holidays, you will have all the weekends to do the studies. Because you highlighted that you have commissions and incentives, right? Most likely that you are in sales, so I would most likely just transition into the tech industry punya sales department. That will be way easier to start. Well, that's a career point of view, and you are in a very, very lucky position because you can actually afford to take a break and learn. That's a very, very luxury thing to have. Then the second thing to talk about also, for younger people, we always will think that by paying our parents 1,000 or 500 a month, right, it's for the repayment of the education that our parents gave us. Actually, after I became a father, like, excuse the living room, right? Technically, if I were to send my kid to a university or to Wales, right, and I grind for your education, just when you come out, the last thing I would expect out of him will be the money back. You are not an investment vehicle. technically I will make more money in buying properties or buying crypto or whatsoever leh. So that 1,500 shouldn't be treated as somewhat as a repayment for your education fee. It's just your mere responsibility. Because in my opinion, what would be more rewarding for your parents is you being happy, you finding your purpose, fulfilling that purpose in contributing to the society. That makes way more sense than monthly 1,000 or that monthly 500. And since your parents have an extra apartment that they don't even want to rent nor sell, means they got money. You think they really need your 1,500 meh? The only purpose for them to collect this from you is so that you don't ball away the lifestyle expenses. 1,500 extra to anybody, it's just going to be more bubble tea, more cafe hopping, more pickleball. That's about it. So it's just a form of discipline that your parents are still implementing on you. And maybe one day when you discuss with your parents, right, hey, I want to move out. Can we consider this 1,500 as the rental for the unit instead? And that will be the next question. Personally, I went through corporate, I built this channel, I went through some entrepreneur thing, right? All within the family house. And I do understand the constraint and sometimes the unnecessary debate and argument between families about your idea. And some find it very toxic lah, some find it very distracting lah. But personally, I like it because I have lived outside before. And that will be the main reason why I would suggest you to move out also. So when you move out, you need to figure out about electricity bills, water bills, IWK bills, maintenance fees. Then you actually need to pay money to buy grocer to fill up the fridge. The food doesn't automatically appear within the fridge itself. You wake up late, nobody cares. When you sleep late, nobody cares. And whether you like it or not, you need to pay bills after bills after bills after bills. Only then suddenly you will realize how lucky most of us are who grows up in Selangor and KL, right? By having a family home to live in. That is why you can actually quit your job to transition into a new career. That's a very, very lucky thing to have. Then for the property, this is my greatest concern and one of the main agenda of why I want to do this channel thingy lah. All of us will have our very own belief system, right? And that belief system will restrict and form our behaviors, and it's derived by the things that we see, we hear, we listen, we understand. For example, when your parents went through that nasty tenant, that very terrible experience, right? And back then there weren't any people giving advice, it's all hearsay, auntie, uncle, friends, colleague, all giving this kind of blind advices, right? You don't know what's your legal standpoint, what you can do, what you cannot do with the deposit. Those unfortunately form the belief that property investment is messy, it's terrible, just a pure waste of time. Another little story of why I started this channel as well is because of that gap between this belief system. Like when I was working in a property consultation company, I was advising a potential investor about his 17th property. He was buying his 17th property. Then when I go back home to Taman Sri Muda, my neighbors, that consists of 7 adults. 7 adults live in that terrace house, right? They every night were arguing about who should pay this month's rent. That's the weirdest thing. 7 adults here struggling to pay a monthly rent of about 1,000 ringgit. Then this uncle here is shopping for his 17th property. What's the difference? The difference will be exposure, and that exposure will form the belief system. So unfortunately for your parents now, if you convince them to sell or buy, right, gone with you, especially at this age, right? They wouldn't believe anything anymore, and if you sell, if you buy, it's not going to do anything to their life because they would have their calculations done, their planning done for their afterlife already. Only then you dare to retire, ma. So this channel also indirectly serves as the other side of the coin. Yes, some people lose money in property investment, some people make a lot of mistakes in property investment, and here we get to talk about it, discuss about it, and because I have access to those who are doing extremely well in property investment. Just that these people who are doing well, there's no incentive to share. When you share, you got a lot more haters lah, all people mata merah lah, all dengki lah, want to hate on you lah, show off lah, whatsoever. So there's no incentive, no benefit to share their success stories, and here then we learn from each other lah. Then back to you, before you move in, which I am supportive of you moving in, since the property is empty, most likely it's fully paid already by your parents, right? Every month is going to be about just the utility bills and maintenance fees. Discuss with your parents about it. Hey ma, hey pa, can I use the house there? Can I live there? So by living in, On top of my 1,500 that I pay you, can we just anggap that as the rent, and I will cover the maintenance fees and I will cover the rest, including the furnishing. And the plan here is, I will stay in 1 + 1 year. Make it like a tenancy agreement, right? 1 + 1 year is where in 1 year time, let me work as hard as possible so that I can get a new job in the industry that I want to. And within this 1 year time, I will furnish the house. Of course, I will have budget constraints, so I will hustle here and there. And if I still cannot make it by year 1, year 2, I will tell you guys again, we will have this family meeting again and extend the so-called rental lah. And guess what? They will say yes one lah. So in the end of the 2 years, then personally, I don't think your parents will push you, but here as an elder brother to push you, right? You need to make back a decision. If you cannot still get hired by year 2 or year 3, right? How are you going to sustain your own lifestyle? But if you can, that's a very admirable saving habit that you have lah. That your savings can sustain your lifestyle for 2 whole years, plus the furnishing and rental and money contribution to your parents. Well, I don't know, but your salary now 5,500 a month, maybe your bonus big lah. And here then I do agree that you do it via the alternative way instead of the makeover guys, because the makeover guys is for people who don't have design sense, got no time, nor the expertise as well. So I just get the keys, I want to move in, I just pay somebody to do it. Like I wouldn't have the time to speak to 10 different carpenters to get quotation and then site visit 10 different times. Then you have different trades to work with. The kitchen guy is different, the electrician is different, the painter is different, then the appliances is different. Wow, I'd rather spend my time making money. But in your case, different, right? So I agree, like you can go Taobao lah, you can go Lazada, Shopee, whatever lah. And maybe this can be your side gig. Maybe after you try it, hey, maybe I have an eye for this, I have the grasp of concept for this, I can actually make money. Most of the business idea actually start like that one. So personally, I don't see any big question within this query of yours, this email of yours. But the only thing I would just like to highlight here is have a timeline, because your parents will not have for you. I know we're getting off tangent to the investment kind of topic already, right? But the main reason of your pivot is because you felt that you are left behind. Like, who are you comparing with? If you have peers at 27 that's earning about 50,000, therefore you want to pivot over, that's another concern. Although I like the hustling move, but the hustling should be done on top of your full-time job, not quit, study, go and do again. But your parents won't tell you that. It's okay lah, Sam, it's okay, just stay at home and just work hard lah. Then every night still got dinner, occasional weekends still got holiday and things like that. So during that family meeting of yours, when you discuss with your parents, right, have that timeline, because after year 1 you cannot make it, right? Year 2 you still cannot make it. And make it here is not to set up a multi-million-dollar business empire, it's just to get a job in the industry that you wanted to. Set a timeline of when you need to hit a pause button to this idea and go back to your automotive. I don't see how 5,500 with commission and incentive, maybe 1 month 6,000 to 7,000, right? At 27, I think it's solid, because personally I think we will hit the peak of income generation when we are at our late 30s to 40s. Anything besides that, right, it's all just learning and experience and exposure only. But here also I want to highlight something lah. As much as I want youngsters to start investment, start getting exposure into property investment, so you to invest in properties, right? This is one of the main benefit of not having a property early in your career. For a lot of fresh grads out there, right, a lot of people FOMO just because by the time you come out, your agent friend who is selling property or selling funds or selling insurance or whatsoever, start buying cars, start buying property, right, and you feel left out. Please don't feel so. Because at let's say 23, you start your career, there will be a point like Sam here, in 4 years time, 5 years time, you suddenly realize that this is not the thing that I like. Technically, if you have some savings, right, and this is what I encourage everyone to have as well, which is your 6-month emergency fund, this gives you options, this gives you freedom to a certain extent, where now you can call it quit. Since I'm good at photography, maybe I should try this as a career. When you are doing accounting, I don't like accounting. My parents forced me into it. I really like teaching kids. This extra fun and that lack of commitment enables you to take a pay cut to pursue what you really like. And if you have really found that something that you really like, although the initial pay or income is low, because you like it, you have more motivation and drive to improve that. Eventually your income will come later. So for all youngsters out there, if you're listening to this, right, don't rush into property investment lah. Because after all, it's a very, very long-term investment vehicle. We're talking about 35 years here. And whether you like it or not, you happy or not, rain or shine, weekend or weekday, you will need to pay monthly installments once you sign on the dotted lines. And please be informed that property investment is not really a tool to make money. It's more of a tool to diversify wealth. When you have wealth, when you have money, then only you diversify into something where it's a hedge against inflation. It protects the value of your money against time, and it allows you to use money to leverage on other people's money to gain more money lah. But do a lot of people get rich in investing in property? Technically, property doesn't make you rich. Property keeps you rich. So for any young people, if you really think that you want to get into property investment, right, please have that 6 months emergency fund first. Also have a protection. Here means insurance lah. Like if you would land into a hospital, right, don't be a liability to the family. Then the third thing is to have clarity in your career. Know what you want to do. Because if you don't know what to do, the last thing you want is commitments that is somewhat a burden to you. You cannot take a pay cut because you got monthly installments to pay. You cannot take a pay cut because you got no money to pay bills the next month. Even when you have a new manager that is nasty, right, you cannot quit your job because you need the pay to pay for things that you don't need in the first place. So what for? And back to Sam, thank you very much for highlighting this. All the best in your career transition. Hopefully you will get that job real soon. And since you're doing it full time, right, I would expect it to be way faster, way quicker. Another faster way is to just get an entry level job in some tech company, right, and start from there. And I guess that's all for today. For those who still have any questions regarding real estate, do just email me at taniherng@gmail.com, or you can just DM me on Instagram, iherng, and I will see you guys on the next one. Ciao.
When love comes in